Before we talk about who Inoue fears, we need to understand why the entire boxing world calls him the monster.
Hand got into from Inoue. This is a fearsome flurry, and he's down.
Naoya Inoue isn't just undefeated, he's untouchable.
Nice stiff jab though, up the gut.
A 4-division world champion with an astonishing record of 30 wins, 27 by knockout.
Badly, the monster on the attack.
That's not just power, that's pure destruction disguised in the body of a 122-pound assassin.
This is covering up, and the monster.
Every punch is a trap, every jab sets up devastation.
Oh, this is unbelievable from Inoue. 5 times.
He doesn't just beat opponents, he erases them.
Here comes Inoue, the destructive.
Think about it, when Inoue dismantled Nonito Donaire in their rematch, it wasn't just a win, it was a clinic in violent precision. One of the greatest fighters of his generation, Donaire, was left looking like he'd been hit by a truck. Then came Stephen Fulton, a master boxer who many believed would finally test Inoue's limits. But within 8 rounds, Fulton was broken down, humiliated, and knocked cold by a barrage of perfectly timed shots. And most recently, Marlon Tapales, who entered with pride, left with nothing but the memory of Inoue's merciless combinations.
Halfway through this round 2.
This is what makes the question so fascinating. If Inoue is this unstoppable, then who could possibly beat him? The truth is, most of boxing's elite avoid him. Few dare to even say his name, but there are a select few fighters, big dangerous men whose style, size, or pure savagery makes even Inoue's most loyal fans nervous.
Not this time. Trying to wrap it around with a body.
And that's where our story begins. Because if Naoya Inoue is the monster at the top of the mountain, these are the shadows climbing toward him. If there's one man who can look Inoue in the eye without flinching, it's Murodjon Akhmadaliev, the pride of Uzbekistan.
Could make something happen in there.
A former unified super bantamweight world champion.
Sets here at the start of the round, but it just got caught. The knee is
And one of the most relentless pressure fighters in the game today. Known simply as MJ, Akhmadaliev carries a style that makes opponents crumble, not from one punch, but from the constant, suffocating storm he brings.
Took a clean shot, stumbled, was able to avoid the knockdown that might have changed the
His hands never stop, his feet never slow, and his heart never fades.
The first couple of rounds he was really...
Back in 2020, he shocked the boxing world when he dethroned Daniel Roman, a champion praised for his durability and skill.
coming out of Akhmadaliev's game.
That night, MJ proved he wasn't just another prospect, he was a nightmare, unloading combinations from impossible angles, overwhelming Roman with sheer ferocity. And while he eventually lost a razor-close split decision to Marlon Tapales, the truth is clear. Akhmadaliev fights like a man possessed, with the kind of pressure and volume that can break even elite champions.
took a while to get going. There's an uppercut that lands for Tapales.
So why does his name send a ripple of tension when paired with Inoue's? Because styles make fights. Inoue thrives when opponents respect his power, giving him the space to dictate pace and punish mistakes. But Akhmadaliev, he doesn't respect anyone. He'll walk straight through fire, eat shots just to land his own, and keep charging forward until either he breaks or his opponent does. Against a sharpshooting sniper like Inoue, that kind of reckless bravery is dangerous, but it's also the only way to beat the monster.
Looked like he was on the back foot. Here he goes, and he's...
And that's why many fans whisper that if there's a man Inoue doesn't want in front of him right now, it's the Uzbek Lion. Every great champion has a shadow, and for Naoya Inoue, that shadow is Stephen Fulton. Inoue dismantled Fulton in 2023, making it look effortless with his precision and ruthless timing.
is able to land, and he comes with it again, and then a...
But here's the thing, Fulton wasn't just any opponent. He was the undefeated, unified super bantamweight champion, a slick boxer praised for his ring IQ, defensive craft, and ability to adapt mid-fight.
You know, tries...
Many analysts believed he'd give Inoue problems, maybe even steal the crown. Instead, Inoue blew right through him. But legends aren't defined by how they win, they're defined by the men who refuse to accept defeat. Fulton has been clear, he wants that rematch, and if it ever happens, it's not going to be the same fight. Fulton now knows the speed, the rhythm, the sharpness of Inoue's power. He's lived through it, and history tells us something important. Rematches have a way of rewriting narratives. Just look at great rivalries of the past. Champions who once looked unbeatable were suddenly undone when the man they dominated came back smarter, sharper, and prepared for the storm. Fulton has the skills to make it ugly. He can clinch, frustrate, drag the fight long, and turn it into a chess match instead of a shootout. Against Inoue, that's dangerous, because the one thing the monster hasn't been truly tested on is patience. Fulton, with his hunger for revenge, is the kind of fighter who won't crumble at the first knockdown. He'll rise, he'll adjust, and he'll try to expose the gaps no one else has dared to look for. And that's why, even after victory, Inoue can't completely escape Fulton's shadow.
Fulton trying to exchange on the...
Because the question remains, what happens if Stephen Fulton comes back smarter, hungrier, and refuses to fold? That thought alone makes this unfinished rivalry one of the rare scenarios that could keep Inoue awake at night. If there's one fighter built from the ground up to cause Naoya Inoue headaches, it's Robeisy Ramirez.
Going to the body with the left hand, comes up top, and a second knockdown is scored.
The Cuban southpaw isn't just a boxer, he's a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a product of that legendary Cuban school of boxing that has created defensive wizards for generations. Ramirez is unorthodox, slippery, and maddeningly hard to hit clean. He thrives on rhythm breaking, angle shifting, and turning aggressive punchers into frustrated stalkers.
Nice left, and now Ryan out.
And if there's one weakness people still whisper about Inoue, it's that he hasn't yet faced a truly elite, unpredictable southpaw with the pedigree to outthink him. Ramirez is that test. His movement is like smoke here 1 second, gone the next. He sets traps not with power, but with patience, luring opponents into overcommitting and punishing them with counters they never see coming. That's the kind of style that could slow down even the monster's momentum. Because Inoue, for all his brilliance, relies on dictating pace and range. Against a Cuban like Ramirez, that control could vanish in a heartbeat. And then there's the confidence factor. Ramirez has already shocked the world before. Remember, this is the man who beat Shakur Stevenson in the amateurs.
Walked over against Nikitin of Russia, who failed the doctor.
One of the slickest fighters alive today. That win alone stamped him as a master of dismantling the seemingly untouchable. If he carried that blueprint into the ring with Inoue, the boxing world would hold its breath. The danger with Ramirez isn't a one-punch knockout. It's death by 1,000 cuts, a war of patience, where frustration builds, mistakes pile up, and even a fighter as explosive as Inoue could find himself unraveling against a master tactician. For the monster, that's the kind of puzzle no one has solved yet, and the possibility that Ramirez could be the one to crack it makes him a threat unlike anyone else in the division. If Naoya Inoue is the monster who breaks men with precision and power, then Brandon Figueroa is the storm that never stops coming. Known as the Heartbreaker, Figueroa doesn't fight with finesse or one-shot knockouts, he fights with chaos. Drowning his opponents under a tidal wave of pressure. Tall for the division, with a granite chin and endless stamina, Figueroa is a nightmare matchup for anyone who values space and rhythm. And if there's one thing Inoue has never been forced to face for 12 straight rounds, it's a fighter who refuses to give him even a second to breathe. Figueroa thrives on attrition. He doesn't care if you're stronger, sharper, or even faster. He cares only about dragging you into deep waters, where volume and pressure turn every second into hell. He smothers opponents, works the body like a machine, and throws punches in bunches until even the slickest technicians start to wilt.
He was off balance. There's Fulton Figueroa.
Against Inoue, who thrives on setting up explosive shots with calculated setups, this would be the ultimate test of patience and endurance. Because when you're fighting Brandon Figueroa, there's no reset button, there's no pause between exchanges, you're forced to fight every second of every round. And while Inoue has proven he can deal with power punchers and defensive wizards, he has yet to face a relentless swarm like Figueroa. That constant suffocation, that refusal to back down, could be the one style that chips away at even the monster's composure. And here's the most important thing Figueroa doesn't fold. He's been hit, he's been hurt, and still, he keeps coming forward.
He was off balance. There's Fulton Figueroa.
To beat him, you don't just need power, you need to be perfect. Every round, every exchange. Against a fighter like Inoue, that equation is combustible. One man refuses to be stopped, the other refuses to be beaten. And if their paths collide, the boxing world could witness one of the most savage wars in modern modern history. Brandon Figueroa may not have the resume yet, but stylistically, he is a specter looming in Inoue's future, the pressure cooker that could test whether the monster is truly unstoppable. And there it is, three men, three very different nightmares, standing as shadows on the horizon of Naoya Inoue's reign. Stephen Fulton, the technician who can turn the monster's rhythm into chaos. Murodjon Akhmadaliev, the southpaw warrior with a blend of speed, angles, and grit. Brandon Figueroa, the pressure cooker who smothers opponents until their will breaks. Each of them represents something Inoue has not yet conquered: a puzzle, a wall, a storm. But here's the question only time can answer. Is Inoue truly untouchable, or are these men simply waiting for their chance to expose the cracks? That's what makes boxing so electric. No matter how dominant a champion looks, there's always someone out there sharpening their blade, preparing to shock the world. And for us, the fans, that's the beauty. Because whether Inoue smashes through them, or finally meets the man who breaks him, we're watching history unfold in real time. So if you've enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you're strapped in, because the monster's journey isn't done yet, and the next chapter might just be the deadliest of all.